Hi, this video instruction on how to format the table of contents is brought to you by the Graduate School. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to insert a table of contents into your thesis or dissertation if you've already written the majority of your document. The first step in creating a table of contents is going through your paper and identifying all relevant entries to populate the table. You need to go through your document and mark every page title, chapter title, and heading as a heading level 1 style in Word. But as you can see, if you hover over the heading level 1, the default settings do not match the formatting of TWU settings, so you need to modify the heading level 1. The way you do that is by heading to the Style section of the Home tab, right-clicking, and choosing Modify. Make sure your font size, color, and style all match the rest of your document under the Formatting section of the Style box. Then there's a button on the bottom left corner of the dialog box. When you click it, a drop-down menu will appear. Choose Paragraph. Then in the Spacing section, make sure that the settings are 0 point for before, 0 point for after, double for line spacing, and check yes for don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. Click OK and OK. Now that the heading 1 style matches the formatting of the rest of your document, it's time to show how to create a table of content entry. So here we have an example dedication page. All you're going to do is place the cursor just before the word, just before the heading that you want to create an entry for, and click heading level 1. To make sure that the heading level 1 style is applied, hover over the line and make sure a gray arrow should pop up on the left side beside the heading. If you're a Mac user, you might not get this helpful arrow, so you'll need to go to the navigation pane. The way you do that is heading to the View tab and checking yes for the navigation pane. Here you can see that dedication came through, so the heading style did in fact apply. The navigation pane should essentially be a preview of your table of contents and list all the headings you've attributed throughout your paper. All right, now that heading level 1 has been applied to all appropriate headings, including page titles, chapter titles, and headings within your paper, you should head down to the dedicated page in your document for the table of contents, which should usually be after your abstract, and generally speaking, before a list of tables. Now head to the Reference tab and choose Table of Contents, and then Automatic Table 2. It will populate all the headings that you've just entered in your table of contents. Now from here, there are going to be a few things that you'll need to manually change to get it to match the Graduate School's formatting template. A word of warning, these manual changes should be one of the very last things you complete. This is because if you add or delete any headings in your paper and then you need to update your entire table of contents, the update will remove any of the manual edits you make. Allow me to demonstrate. I'm going to do some light formatting changes and then choose Update Entire Table and click OK. And once I've done that, all the formatting I just did, making the dedication much larger, is removed. However, if you're only updating your page numbers, the manual edits will stick with it. So I'm going to make the dedication big again, choose this, it's on the top left, it says Update Table, but you choose Update Page Numbers Only and click OK, and the manual edits are still there. So just keep that in mind, that this should be the last stage in your process. Now, with that understanding, we are ready to format this page to make it match the current TWU guidelines. On page 32 and 33 of the TWU Tech Manual, we show a visual example of how your final product should appear. The first thing you'll need to change to match the template is the table of contents title. It should be in all caps and centered. And then you'll notice there's a spacing issue between table contents and dedication. You want to keep the spacing uniform, just like the rest of your paper. And the way to do that is to go through and select all the text in your table of contents, right-click, and choose paragraph. And then once again, make sure that the spacing settings is the same. So it should be 0 point for before, 0 point for after, double, and click don't add space between paragraphs of the same style, and click OK. Now that your spacing and your table of contents title is all taken care of, you're ready to head to the next step, which would be your chapter title. The TWU formatting of the chapter title is Roman numeral, period, space, chapter title in all caps. Now, for some reason, that is coming through as blue and underlined. So I'm just going to make sure that that is not applied because we want it to match the rest of the document. But this is the way each one of your chapter titles should be formatted in your table of contents. Uppercase Roman numeral and all caps chapter title. So this would be 2 literature review, 3 methodology, 4 results, and 5 recommendations and conclusions. And then, of course, I just want to real quick get rid of that blue and that underline. So now that we've applied that to all of our chapter titles, the next thing you're going to want to fix is the bold and the italics of the heading levels. This is going to be something you all experience as each of your style guides will have different guidelines, but usually it'll come through bold or italics, but it shouldn't be. It should just be regular text. And it should also not be uppercase. It should in fact be capitalize each word as to not to differentiate itself from the chapter title formatting. So go through and make sure that those settings are applied. Here, of course, everything isn't capitalized. So once again, make sure everything is capitalized. Excellent. So the next thing we're going to work on is the indentation of the heading levels. Your heading level 1 should be aligned with your chapter title. There should be no indentation on this one. However, with your heading level 2, it should be indented to 0.5 degrees. And the way to do that is to select, highlight the entire line, and then click the tab key, and it should automatically indent to the correct setting. Now, if you just click the tab key, you're going to be very confused because that is not where it should be indented to. So make sure you select the entire line and then click the tab key. Now, TWU only requires heading levels 1 and heading levels 2 in our table of contents. However, if you choose to add more heading levels, you should increase the indentation by 0.5 inches past the previous heading level. So the previous heading level for the heading level 3 is heading level 2. So 0.5 inches past the heading level 2. So 1, And then you go ahead and apply that throughout your entire table of contents. Heading level 1, not indented. Heading level 2, indented to 0.5. Heading level 3, indented to 1. And the way we do this is by selecting and tabbing. And the way to, for the heading level 3 is to tab twice. Now, the next thing you're going to need to do to have your table of contents match the TWU formatting template is to go after references, the end of the line on references, and click enter. And then you're going to want to write in all caps, appendices. This is a title line and should not have any periods or page numbers. This is fine as is, just write the word appendices. The next thing you're going to want to do to have it match the formatting template is to fix the Appendix A formatting here. The TWU formatting here is the relevant letter in uppercase, period, and then the appendix title only capitalized, like so, not in all caps. And that differentiates again from the chapter title. It's similar to the chapter title, but it is different in that the entry should just be capitalized and not in all caps. So C period appendix C title. And then you fix for all relevant entries. And now you have a properly formatted table of contents. Real quick, I just want to show another common mistake I see students making. This will remove all the wonderful formatting I just did, but it's important that you know when you're formatting your table of contents. Many students like to select the entire to do both lines in their chapter titles, and choose heading level 1 for both lines. What ends up happening is that creates 2 separate entries in your table of contents. See, chapter 1 and introduction. I recommend just selecting the actual chapter title so you don't have to write that out, and instead just have to add in the relevant Roman numeral. The other common mistake I see is students not knowing where to capitalize and where to caps lock. So once again, for all front matter, caps lock. Chapter titles, caps lock. And then references, caps lock, and appendices, caps lock. For everything else, it should just, all headings essentially should just be capitalized. And then of course, appendices titles should just be capitalized. I hope this has helped you and you feel more prepared to go about creating your own table of contents. Thank you, and feel free to reach out to the graduate formatter if you need more help in this endeavor. Thank you and have a good day.